If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. John chapter 15, verses 18 and 19. This message comes to you by divine appointment, not by chance, not by accident, but through the sovereign hand of God, who has directed these words to find you at this exact moment in your journey. What if everything you've experienced, the unexplained resistance, the silent stares, the way people seem uneasy around you despite your kindness, wasn't a flaw in you, but confirmation of your divine selection? The truth you're about to discover will transform how you see yourself and the world around you forever. If these words are already stirring something deep within your spirit, type 777 in the comments right now. That number is a sign of divine completion, a sacred confirmation that you are being divinely led to this revelation. You've felt it your entire life, haven't you? That sense of being different, that feeling of walking through this world but never quite belonging to it. People react to your presence in ways that defy logical explanation, some drawn to you, sensing something powerful and pure within you, while others keep their distance, as if your very existence makes them uncomfortable. This is not your imagination. This is your confirmation. In the book of John, chapter 15, verse 19, Jesus declared to his disciples, "If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you." These words weren't just for those disciples. They were prophetic, reaching through time to find you, the chosen one living in this generation. The world fears what it cannot understand, and you, chosen one, are beyond their comprehension. Everything in existence operates on energy, vibration, frequency, spiritual resonance. Every soul radiates an energy signature shaped by their thoughts, emotions, and spiritual alignment. But yours? Yours is different. Even if you've never been told, even if you can't always feel it, you radiate divine light. It's not something you do consciously. It's something you simply are. When you enter a room, the atmosphere shifts. Without saying a word, without making any effort, your presence commands attention. People notice, even when they don't understand why. Why? Because you've been marked by God. Most people operate on a lower spiritual frequency, weighed down by fear, ego, materialism, and illusion. Their spirits are burdened by the cares of this world. But you exist on another level. Your spirit vibrates at a frequency too high for many to comprehend. Have you noticed how some people tense up around you? How they become overly defensive, irritated, or even fearful for no apparent reason? That reaction isn't about you, it's about them. Your energy forces them to confront things they would rather keep hidden. In Ephesians chapter 5, verse 13, Scripture reveals, "But everything exposed by the light becomes visible, and everything that is illuminated becomes a light." Your presence exposes what lies in darkness. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. Your very existence shines a light that reveals what others try to keep hidden: their insecurities, their unresolved wounds, their false beliefs. While you simply exist as you are, they feel an invisible mirror being placed before them, reflecting parts of themselves they would rather not see. This is why jealousy often follows you. People who are spiritually disconnected may not understand what makes you different, but they can feel it. Deep within them is an unspoken awareness that you possess something they do not, an inner peace, a divine favor, a wisdom that cannot be bought or imitated. And because they don't understand it, they either fear it or resent it. You may find yourself rejected without reason. People may distance themselves, treat you with coldness, or even act as if they're competing with you when you've done nothing to provoke them. This is an unconscious response to the vibration you carry. You are not like the world, and the world doesn't know how to handle that. Some mistake your presence for arrogance. They think you believe you're better than them simply because you carry yourself differently. But this isn't about pride. It's about spiritual energy. You don't chase validation. You don't seek approval. You don't engage in shallow games. And because of that, people project their own insecurities onto you. Understand this truth right now. You cannot dim your light to make others comfortable. You were not sent here to fit in. You were sent here to stand apart, to be a force of divine energy in a world drowning in illusion. Spiritual awakening isn't just a moment of realization. It's a transformation that alters the very essence of a person. When you awaken, you no longer see the world as you once did. The illusions that once held you captive fall away, and you begin to perceive life through the lens of divine truth. This shift radiates outward, affecting your energy, your mindset, and how you carry yourself. People around you sense it, even if they don't understand it. And for many, that is terrifying. The world operates on illusions. People build their lives around false beliefs, societal conditioning, and material distractions. They find comfort in what's familiar, even if it's built on deception. But when a chosen one steps into their life, that comfort is disturbed. You don't follow the same patterns. You don't engage in meaningless pursuits. You don't speak empty words. Everything about you carries weight, carries purpose, carries a presence that unsettles those who are still asleep. When you speak from wisdom, not from societal programming. When you move with purpose, not with uncertainty. When you look at people, you see beyond their masks, beyond their carefully constructed identities. You see their soul. And that, more than anything, is what people fear. Because deep down, they know that once you have awakened, you can no longer be controlled. You can no longer be manipulated by the same forces that keep the masses blind. In Romans chapter 12, verse 2, the Apostle Paul wrote, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." You have been transformed. You have broken free from worldly patterns, and that transformation makes you unpredictable to those still trapped in the system. People fear what they cannot understand, and a chosen one, fully awakened, is an enigma. They cannot place you in a category. You don't follow the rules of this world. You're neither completely of it nor entirely separate from it. You move differently, think differently, respond to life differently. This confuses them. It makes them uneasy. When a person is confronted with a higher truth, they have two choices. They can embrace it, allowing it to transform them, or they can reject it, clinging to the illusions that make them feel safe. Most choose the latter because truth demands change, and change is uncomfortable. When you enter someone's life, when you speak from a place of deep knowing, you present that choice to them, and more often than not, they will resist. Resistance comes in many forms. Some will push you away, avoiding you because your presence makes them confront things they'd rather ignore. Some will mock you, trying to belittle what they don't understand. Others will compete with you, sensing a power in you that they wish they had. And then there are those who will simply fear you without knowing why. They may smile to your face, but deep down, they are unsettled. This is why people often misinterpret wisdom as arrogance. When you speak with certainty, they assume you're trying to prove yourself superior. When you hold firm to your convictions, they think you're stubborn. When you refuse to engage in meaningless drama, they believe you think you're above them. But the truth is simpler. You are awake, and they are still dreaming. And a person who is asleep doesn't like to be reminded that they're dreaming. Being chosen by God isn't just a title, it's a calling that carries divine truth. When you are chosen, you are set apart. You don't follow the same paths as others, And you don't live by the same rules. You carry something within you far greater than yourself, a light that comes from the divine. But this light isn't always welcomed by the world, because where there is light, darkness is exposed. The moment you step into a room, your presence shifts the energy. It's not something you force, or even something you fully control. It's simply who you are. Those who walk in truth don't have to announce it. The truth speaks for itself. And when truth enters a space filled with falsehood, deception, and pretense, it naturally reveals what has been hidden. Darkness cannot coexist with light. It must either flee or be transformed. And most people aren't ready for transformation. Your presence exposes what people try to keep buried: their fears, their guilt, their insecurities, their sins, not because you accuse them, not because you confront them directly, but simply because your existence alone shines a light on the things they don't want to face. This is why people often react to you with hostility, even when you've done nothing to them. They may say you make them uncomfortable, but what they truly mean is that your presence forces them to see themselves clearly. And many people aren't ready for that level of truth. They prefer the comfort of their illusions. They prefer to hide in the shadows where their weaknesses, lies, and flaws remain unseen. In John chapter 3, verses 19 to 20, we read, "This is the verdict. Light has come into the world, but people loved darkness instead of light because their deeds were evil. Everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed." Throughout history, those who carry divine wisdom have been feared, hated, and misunderstood. The prophets, the sages, the visionaries, they all walked a lonely road, not because they were wrong, but because they were right. The world has always resisted truth because truth demands change, and change requires letting go of the false security that darkness provides. Look at Moses, who was chosen to lead his people out of slavery. He didn't seek power, yet he became a threat to Pharaoh. Why? Because he carried divine truth, and that truth exposed the corruption and cruelty of the Egyptian rulers. The very presence of Moses in Pharaoh's court was enough to challenge the system of oppression. Look at Jesus, who was rejected by the very people he came to save. He didn't come with weapons. He didn't seek to overthrow kingdoms by force. Yet he was feared because his light revealed the hypocrisy of religious leaders, the greed of the powerful, and the spiritual blindness of the masses. His truth was undeniable, and because of that, they sought to silence him. And now here you are, chosen one, walking in the modern world, carrying that same light that has always been misunderstood. You don't need to call yourself a prophet, a leader, or a saint. Your presence alone speaks for itself. You live differently, you think differently, and people notice. They may not always know why they fear you, why they resist you, or why they try to push you away. But deep down, their spirit recognizes what their mind cannot comprehend. You are not of this world in the way they are. When you are chosen, you're not here to blend in. You're here to stand out, not for the sake of attention, but because your light was meant to shine. You are here to be an example, to be a guide, to be a vessel of divine wisdom. And that means you will face opposition, not because you're wrong, but because you're right. Because truth always disrupts lies. Because righteousness always convicts wickedness. Because light always exposes darkness. You will find that people may accuse you of things you've never done. They may twist your words, misunderstand your actions, and reject your kindness. Do not let this discourage you. It's not you they're rejecting, it's the truth within you. Just as the world has always resisted those who walk in divine truth, so too will it resist you. But you must not shrink. You must not dim your light to make others comfortable. You weren't placed here to fit into the darkness. You were placed here to illuminate it. There's something about you that unsettles people, and they themselves may not even know why. You've walked into rooms where conversations suddenly shift, where people glance at you with uncertainty, or where others either try too hard to impress you or completely avoid you, this isn't a coincidence. It isn't in your imagination. There's an unspoken, subconscious fear that people have of those who stand apart, those who are different in a way that cannot be explained through appearance, status, or words alone. Human beings perceive energy before they process words. Long before someone hears your voice, before they know your thoughts or intentions, they sense something about you. Energy is a language of its own, and it speaks volumes in silence. When you carry a presence that isn't weighed down by worldly concerns, when you walk with a quiet but undeniable authority, people pick up on that immediately. And it shakes them even if they don't understand why. Most people live their lives according to predictable patterns. They chase the same things: approval, validation, material success, temporary pleasures. They follow the same unspoken rules of society. But you, as a chosen one, don't. You stand apart. Your confidence doesn't come from worldly achievements. Your wisdom isn't borrowed from mainstream narratives. Your presence isn't seeking approval. And that alone is enough to make others uneasy. Confidence without arrogance is rare. True spiritual wisdom is rare. A person who walks through life without fear, without desperation, and without the need for validation is rare. And when people encounter something rare, they don't know how to react to it. Have you noticed how people tend to get defensive around you, even when you haven't accused them of anything? How they try to prove themselves to you, even when you aren't judging them? Or how they feel the need to downplay their own insecurities and mistakes, as if standing in your presence makes them more aware of their shortcomings. This is because the energy you carry reveals the truth, and the truth is often uncomfortable. A person lost in materialism will feel uneasy around someone detached from material desires. A person who builds their self-worth on external validation will feel small around someone who doesn't seek approval. A person who masks their insecurities with arrogance will feel exposed in front of someone who carries true confidence. It isn't what you say that makes them uncomfortable, it's what you are. In Proverbs chapter 28 verse 1 we read, "The wicked flee though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion." The moment you stop following the crowd, the moment you stop engaging in shallow conversations or meaningless pursuits, people notice. Some may admire you, some may be curious, but many will feel intimidated. They won't understand why they feel uneasy, why they feel the need to question you, challenge you, or distance themselves. But deep down, it's because your presence forces them to reflect on themselves. In work environments, spiritually guided individuals often find themselves in strange positions. They may be respected but also envied. They may do everything right yet still face unnecessary obstacles. They may be included in groups but never truly embraced. This is because they don't engage in the same power struggles, the same manipulations, the same petty concerns that others do. And that makes them unpredictable. And unpredictability is intimidating. In social settings, people may either gravitate toward you or avoid you completely. You may have noticed how some are naturally drawn to you, eager to learn, eager to understand what makes you different. But there are also those who keep their distance, who look at you with suspicion, who assume that because you don't seek validation, you must think you're better than them. They create reasons in their mind to justify their discomfort. Family dynamics are another place where this often happens. The chosen ones in families are often the ones who are misunderstood, who are treated differently, who are either deeply loved or unfairly resented. Not because they've done anything wrong, but because their presence alone represents change, growth, and a higher calling. And not everyone is ready to accept that. This is the truth. When you walk in your purpose, when you carry divine wisdom, when you live with unshakable confidence, people will fear you. Not because you've harmed them, not because you've wronged them, but because your very existence challenges the illusions they've built around themselves. And while they may not say it out loud, deep down, they know that standing next to you feels like standing next to a mirror that shows them what they don't want to see. There are signs all around you, subtle but undeniable, that people sense something about you that unsettles them, even when you've done nothing to provoke fear, even when your heart is full of kindness, even when you only wish the best for others. There's a tension in the air when you walk into certain rooms. People behave strangely around you. They struggle to understand you, and sometimes they even act out in ways that make no sense. One of the most common signs is the way people react to your presence. Have you noticed that people avoid looking you in the eyes? That they glance away quickly, as if they're afraid of being seen too deeply? Your eyes carry something powerful: truth, wisdom, and the light of God. When people who aren't ready to face their own truths look into your eyes, they feel exposed. They feel as if you can see straight through them, past their words, past their masks, past the identities they've carefully constructed. And that level of exposure is terrifying for those who have spent their whole lives hiding. Misunderstandings follow you wherever you go. You may say something with the purest intentions, yet people take offense. You may try to help, yet others assume you're being arrogant. No matter how much you explain yourself, no matter how much clarity you bring, it often feels like people deliberately misinterpret your words and actions. This isn't because you lack communication skills. It's because people see you through the lens of their own fears and insecurities. When someone is afraid of being judged, they will assume judgment where there is none. When someone is afraid of being wrong, they will hear correction even in the kindest advice. Hostility appears out of nowhere. People you barely know seem to have a problem with you. Strangers treat you with unwarranted rudeness. You face opposition in places where there should be none. It can be frustrating. It can be confusing. But it isn't a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of what your presence brings out in others. When you carry divine energy, it stirs the spirits of those who have been resisting truth. Some will be drawn to you, seeking guidance, wisdom, and healing, but others will lash out. Not because you've done anything to them, but because your existence alone feels like a challenge to the lies they've told themselves. Then there are those who feel the need to test you, to challenge you without reason. You may have noticed that some people always seem to be trying to prove something when they're around you. They argue with you over small matters. They try to show that they're smarter, stronger, or more capable. They attempt to undermine you in ways that seem unnecessary. This is because, deep down, they recognize your power. They may not fully understand it, but they feel it. And instead of embracing it, instead of learning from you, they feel threatened. And when people feel threatened, they either run from the source of their fear or try to dominate it. But understand this: these reactions aren't proof that something is wrong with you. They're proof of your spiritual power. They're proof that you're different, that you carry something rare, something sacred. You were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to be easily understood. The fear others have of you isn't your burden to carry. It's their reaction to something greater than themselves, something they cannot explain but cannot ignore. You'll find that those who are ready will embrace your presence with gratitude. They'll seek you out, drawn by the light you carry. But for those who are still trapped in their illusions, for those who aren't yet ready to face the truth, you will always be an enigma. And that's okay. Do not shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Do not dim your light so others don't feel exposed. Your purpose is far greater than their fears. You must understand that being feared without reason isn't a curse. It's a confirmation of who you are. The world doesn't fear those who conform. It fears those who stand firm in their truth. As a chosen one, you carry a presence that unsettles the status quo. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to apologize for it. But you do need to learn how to walk in this reality without allowing it to drain you. The first lesson is this: never shrink yourself to make others comfortable. It's tempting, isn't it? To make yourself smaller, quieter, less noticeable, just to avoid conflict, just to stop people from looking at you with suspicion, envy, or fear. But that isn't your calling. You were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to be ordinary. If your presence shakes people, let it shake them. If your light exposes darkness, let it do so. A candle doesn't dim itself because the night is afraid of illumination. In Matthew chapter 5 verses 14 to 16, Jesus declared, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." You don't need approval. That's a difficult truth to accept because, deep down, every human being wants to be accepted. But the path of a chosen one isn't built on the approval of others. It's built on divine purpose. If you live for validation, you will die from rejection. And rejection is something you will face time and time again, not because you're flawed, but because you're different. People don't reject what they understand. They reject what they cannot control. True leadership requires being comfortable with resistance. Every great prophet, every spiritual warrior, every chosen soul has faced opposition. They were questioned. They were doubted. They were feared, not because they were wrong, but because they stood in truth. You must understand that when people resist you, it's not always because they hate you. Sometimes they're simply afraid of what you represent. They fear the unknown. They fear change. They fear being confronted with a reality they're not ready to accept. Protecting your energy is crucial. You cannot allow the negativity of others to enter your spirit. There will be people who try to provoke you, who try to drain you with their doubts, their arguments, their envy. Do not engage in battles that don't serve your purpose. Not every fight is worth fighting. Some things are meant to be ignored. Guard your mind. Guard your emotions. Guard your spirit. Be mindful of where you place your attention and who you allow into your space. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. As a chosen one, you will attract many people, some who seek guidance, some who seek to challenge you, and some who simply want to be near your energy without contributing anything meaningful. You must learn to say no. You must learn to recognize when someone is draining you rather than uplifting you. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're necessary. If you pour into others constantly without replenishing your own spirit, you will find yourself exhausted and spiritually depleted. Stay connected with God. This is the most important truth of all. When the world misunderstands you, when people fear you, when you feel isolated and alone, turn to the one who chose you. The world may reject you, but God never will. The closer you are to God, the stronger your spirit becomes. Prayer is your refuge. Meditation is your renewal. Do not seek strength from the world. Seek it from the source of your existence. Walk boldly. Walk fearlessly. Walk with the understanding that you are here for a reason. The fear others have of you isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of the power you carry. Do not allow it to break you. Do not allow it to silence you. Keep moving forward. Keep standing in truth. Keep being exactly who you were created to be. You must understand this truth. Being feared without reason isn't a curse. It's a mark of divine favor. It's proof that you carry something far greater than what this world can comprehend. You were never meant to fit in. You were never meant to go unnoticed. Your very existence is a disruption to the forces that thrive in darkness. And that's why they fear you. This path isn't for the weak. It was never meant to be easy, but you were built for this. Every challenge, every rejection, every moment of isolation has been preparing you for something greater. Do not let the weight of this journey make you question your purpose. You were chosen for a reason. You are set apart for something sacred. That's why you feel different. That's why the world reacts to you the way it does. So embrace your calling. Stand firm in your power. Do not apologize for the light you carry. Do not hide who you are to make others comfortable. The world may not always understand you, but that isn't your burden to bear. Your responsibility is to walk boldly in the path God has laid before you, to shine even when others wish you would dim your light, to rise even when the weight of the world tries to pull you down. If this message speaks to your soul, if you feel the truth of these words deep within you, then comment 777 right now. Let it be a declaration that you are stepping fully into your power, that you will no longer shrink yourself, that you will no longer doubt who you are. You are a chosen one, and no amount of fear from others will ever change that truth. Keep walking, keep shining, keep standing firm.